Thanks for joining us here at Keystone Lawn and Tree Care and Phil's Lawn Care.
Good to be back.
Yeah, we did one of these videos a couple weeks ago, and we were just kind of having fun. We talked about I can't remember. We talked about what did we talk about?
The rabbit trail of me starting.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's really informative for a lot of people.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it,
We were talking about like, what we learned and like how we can, what our goals are for the following upcoming year and stuff. Yeah. But now that the year's kind of launching, we're getting our gear ready. We're excited. Yeah. Spring is just right around the corner, and we're excited. And we're starting to outfit our trailers with some maybe some new stuff, or maybe some stuff that's been in a box sitting on the floor of my garage.
Yeah, last time I was here, I'm like, man, Chris, I saw those the green racks you have, man. You got to show them off on the video, like, because I've been eyeing as well, for my enclosed trailer. So I asked him, like, is this for enclosed or open or both?
Yeah. So here behind me we have a company called Green Touch Industries. And you go to trailerracks.com is their website, and they do an extreme series, I think they call it, and they have a bunch of different items. And the one we're looking at today, or actually two of them, we have one with the weed eater racks, and then with the weed eater string and cutter rack here behind us.
And this video's not sponsored by him, but Green Touch Industries, you better be looking out. My friend Chris over here sponsors his channel. Yeah. Hey, he buys your products, he loves them. You had the first version of them, right?
Yeah, I had them back when they were like yellow.
Yeah. Hey, he needs a sponsor, so hey.
All right.
Big shout out to Chris. Big shout out to Green Touch Industries.
Yes, these guys have been doing it a long time. They've changed their model, the little fine tuned it over the years, and this is their most recent one. I bought it just 6 months or a year ago. But it's important to, when you're opening your business, you're trying to dial in everything. You're trying to make your processes easier. Not only are you buying stuff like this, you're buying, you're getting your QuickBooks, accounts all set up. Maybe you'd have just Excel program that you're using on your computer. You're getting your Lawn Pro software going. You got your Google Routes, and stuff. And it's important to get all these things kind of like together now, in our off season as we're ramping up, get all those things together, so when you do hit the ground running, spring comes fast, and it's just like that.
Yeah, you got to catch up on all your book work for sure.
Yeah,
you got to make sure you're established, did all your tax work and all that, everything's prepared and all set and done. And like you said, build your routes, make sure all your estimates are sent out, make sure you're efficient in all of your categories that you might have. And so I think that's very beneficial.
Yeah, and
because when the season starts, it's like no time.
Yeah,
no time.
You got to start. You got to pull those lawnmowers out of storage right about now, really, and fire them up, make sure they're running, tune them up if you have to. Hopefully, you did that before.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
And then also part of that is getting your equipment dialed in here on the trailer and getting those processes again in place. I really like these in particular because they're really easy to use, and they get things out of the way, which is important because you can't just throw your $500 or your $1,000 weed eater into the back of your truck full of grass and stuff. You really want to keep it safe and secure. Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people, man, when I work at the Ace, I've talked about this in the previous episode, but when I worked at Ace, I talked to so many lawn care guys that would come in. One guy came in like bawling because he said, he's like, not only did my equipment just get stolen and my trailer got stolen with all my equipment on it, my grandfather just died.
Oh man.
He was like the saddest guy in the world.
Sucks.
And so securing your equipment is very important. This stuff, I mean, they're uncuttable, right?
Yeah,
you can't cut this stuff.
Yeah, virtually. They have a lock here, so what you do is you put it on there, and then you can push the lock on there to keep it secure. So if you took a lunch break and you went into fast food restaurant, you don't have to worry about your stuff getting stolen right off the rack.
Right. Yeah.
And it's really fast and easy. I'm not going to demonstrate it today because this video is just mostly about preparing yourself and getting everything just right, and getting equipment like this mounted now on your trailer during your off season is important for when you get started.
Yep.
And you get in and out of your truck like 25 times. You're getting out of the truck 25 times, you're getting back in your truck 25 times, you're getting this thing off 25 times. This thing gets touched probably 50 times a day.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that it's strong, it's durable, and it's easy to use. This new model I like is that you can operate it with one hand. The other one you had to like turn it and then you had to like push the button, and then you had to pull it off. This one's easy. All you do is just turn it and just pull it right off the trailer. It's super easy and it's fast, and it doesn't really require any kind of training for the guys to do either. The last model, you had to like turn it, and you had to make sure it was secured, and you had to like push the button in. And this one takes all the guesswork out. It's really easy if you have an employees. You just turn the handle and snap it on, and the thing's spring loaded, and it snaps back into place. You know, again, if you're touching this thing 50 times a day and you're just on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, it's important to have stuff like this, because you can't reach into the back of your pickup truck and pulling the stuff out. You know, it's just a major hassle.
Yeah, I had a question. Like, when I just started, I used to buy all the cheap stuff, you know, and like cheap this, cheap that, and it would break down, and then I'd just buy it again. Cheap this, cheap that. Like, even like small things like rakes and all that, I would buy the cheapest.
Yeah.
I'd go to Harbor Freight, and Harbor Freight Tools is, I mean, they sell some good stuff, but most of the stuff is just cheap Chinese made, or
just
made in Taiwan, whatever. Yeah, junk. And how would like someone that's just starting out, and this, maybe we could talk about it both, but you know, for you, I mean, how does someone just starting out, they don't have a lot of money, maybe they've gained, maybe they're 1 year in their business and they've gained some money to buy some equipment. Would you recommend them buying something like this instead of like a cheap $50 rack? Would it be beneficial, or would it be smart to invest your money into quality instead of going the cheap alternative where it'll break down every year?
Well, certainly you would think, yes, you'd always want to buy, you know, the best, of course, especially in the commercial lawn care industry. But when you're first getting started, you just can't afford it. I mean, this is like $200-300, you know, for just this. Not to mention your weed eater, which is like $500, you know. And then
you buy this, but you have like a $60 trimmer. I mean, the rack's more than your trimmers.
Right. You know, so really, I guess to answer that question, you do, when you're first getting started, you do what you can afford or what you have available with you at the time.
Yeah.
When I very first got started, I had just my crummy, you know, Walmart specials, like $200 for my mower. And then I had like the cheap, like Home Depot MTD weed eater, you know, the curved shaft kind. And then I think when I first started, I didn't even have a blower. So I had two crappy pieces of equipment, and it was a long, hard road, you know, because I was thinking to myself, I can buy this for $200 for the lawnmower and like $100 for the weed eater, and I didn't even have a blower. But when I did get the blower, I got the cheap Home Light special from Lowe's, you know, and that was like a $75, you know. And so I'm all in. And then I bought the cheapest trailer I could afford at the time. I got the Harbor Freight special, and I put the wood walls on the side. And all in, I was probably maybe $1,000 all in with the trailer. And at the time, I didn't even have a truck. I was towing this in my sedan, my car. And so, yeah, you want to try to buy all this stuff, but then no, you can't really afford it. And I guess that's where opening your own business and starting to become more financially aware and really saving your money and putting yourself on a budget. Again, this time of year is a perfect time to put yourself on that budget.
Yeah.
To really write your pro forma for the year and decide, you know, like, what am I going to do? What are my goals? You know, I got to save this much money, and stick to it. I know it's easy when it's like August and you're making like a bunch of money and you're like, yeah, all right, I'm just going to go out.
Experiment with a new mower.
Yeah, let me just go out and buy a new mower. Yeah, let me go buy these extreme, you know, racks. You know, let me go buy that $1,000 weed. But you can't do that. It's really important, especially when you're first getting started. You just can't afford it. And so all this stuff, Phil, you see in my garage, you know, I went from the $200 Walmart special to the $1,200 Toro mower, for example, and that's a huge jump. But I didn't make that overnight, you know. I went from the $200 special to a $200 special to a $200 special, and I was pulling my hair out. And then I made the jump to a used commercial at about $800. And then the next couple of years, I bought the full-on brand new, you know, and $1,200 for an ordinary $200 mower is a lot.
Yeah.
But I think as you get more established, you have to make those changes.
You have to.
You know, you just can't afford to have this stuff break down, and then, you know, you're cobbling together these old parts, and it just doesn't make sense. And then, yeah, you probably won't get this extreme rack on your first year, but you better put it in your budget for the next year, because these are awesome.
Yeah, and same thing with me. Like in 2020, I had the 5x8 utility trailer from Lowe's. And I was thinking to myself, man, I want to upgrade. I want to get an enclosed trailer to keep my things secure. But throughout that time, I'm like, well, I really don't need one because all my equipment fits. You know, and at that time, I still had like I still had like a riding mower. It wasn't even a 0-turn. But as soon as I made the jump to a 0-turn, and that's when I was like, okay, I have the funds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a 0-turn, and because I'm taking on bigger lots, you know, I want to get out of the riding mower. And no shame if you're starting out with the riding mower. I think a lot of handful of us started with riding mower, especially when we're cutting big properties.
Yeah, and you didn't have that 0-turn the first year, or when did you get that?
I got it second year.
Yeah.
I got it my second year because my business started growing. I started to gain more money. I had a sack of cash laying. I've never had that in my life. I had the funds to like business funds,
stashed under your mattress.
Business funds, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy a 0-turn. I'm not gonna waste it all. I'm still gonna save, but I'm gonna buy the essentials.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna buy things that are gonna last me 3-4 years down the road.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Like I was getting like tempted and stuff.
Oh,
like,
man.
I'm gonna buy this because it's brand new.
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying I'm perfect. I bought the battery equipment because I could afford it.
Yeah.
And I was just testing the waters and like seeing what and I like it. I enjoy it. And it wasn't a regretful purchase. Was it something I needed? No.
Yeah.
It was absolutely not.
I have that hobby too. I bought a few battery operated stuff just for fun.
Yeah, because there's a certain degree where your wants and needs are separated.
Yeah.
And like for me personally, I always deal with the wants. I deal a lot with the wants.
Yeah.
I have it all. I have equipment that will cut the grass and make cash. But do I want new equipment? Sure, everyone does. Everyone wants a new piece of equipment, a new truck, new trailer, and all that. But sometimes we got to be careful because our funds will go to waste and all this new stuff, and then you're going to be starting racking up debt. Or if you don't use credit, you're going to have no money to pay for and to give yourself, and
it's just crippling, when you're getting started, you think, oh, I'm just going to buy this on the credit card. This happened to me, My first big lawnmower I bought, it was like $3,500 for a mid-sized walk-behind mower, and I plunged myself into debt. I'm like, I gotta buy, because this is year 2, and I'm thinking, I got my customers. I don't have a lot of money, but man,
you can make the payments.
I can make the payments, and man, I plunged myself into what $3,500 isn't really that much nowadays, but back then, man, it was crippling, and I had to pay like $200 a month or whatever, and that's not very much, but it was just such a burden. It was really, really hard, having to make those payments, and then knowing that I had this valuable piece of equipment here that's just sitting there some days and not even being used. And so no, you can't afford to buy this stuff brand new, especially when you're first getting started. You use what you have available to you and what you can afford, and there's no shame in that, because we've all been there. But it is really, really important to set yourself a budget. And even if you hadn't gone to school for this and you don't know anything about financing or budgets and stuff, you need to learn about it. Talk to guys like Phil and I. We've been there, and we want your journey to be easier than ours. My journey was really tough. Phil's shared with us in the past that he's had a hard time in the past, and we hope that by watching these videos, you can learn a little bit of something from us. And so you don't have to have the hard time that we had. You can learn from our mistakes.
I wish, because and I'm lucky because you started, man, what, 15 years ago?
About 11, 12 years ago.
So like we talked about during, we had a break time. You didn't have YouTube back then. You didn't have podcasts. And nowadays, people that are starting out, man, there's like 10 courses online on how to start a lawn care and landscaping business, how to make money, how to be profitable. There's so much information out there. It's all free. Yeah. And well, not the courses. Some people still try to sell their courses, but so much information. You can literally sit down an hour a day. Even if you're working a 9 to 5, sit down an hour a day on how to start a lawn care business, and you can start it. And you can go around with no money, absolutely no money, and go pull weeds. Pull weeds is free. You got your hands, go get some trash bags or something, and pull weeds, and maybe even use their green bin.
Oh, well, you could use the customer's lawnmower. Maybe it's a little old lady, and they got the mower sitting in the garage, and you can just go by once a week and use their mower and mow their lawn.
We all start.
Yeah, we start somewhere.
Yeah, and getting back to the equipment, I always think it's very important to, like we talked about, as soon as you progress, as soon as you're in your first, second, third year, start thinking of buying things that aren't, throwaways.
Yeah.
Start buying the good rack. Start buying a good mower. Buy commercial mowers.
You have to.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to.
Because you will deal with those breakdowns if you continue the cheap route.
Yeah.
And even, I figured out that, and I'm not, shaming anyone for buying cheap clothing or cheap shoes, man, we're on our feet all day, and
Oh,
you
man.
have to invest into some
Oh,
good quality
man.
shoes.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you'll kill your feet.
Oh yeah,
If you're mowing,
I
you know,
bought like cheap boots before, and I would burn through them in like a month, and I
Yeah.
wondered why. You know, I'd take them back, and I'd be like, "Give me another pair of boots," and I would just burn through those.
Yeah.
Remember the Shopko up here?
Yeah,
And they had
yeah.
the Payless,
Yeah,
Payless
Payless
shoes.
shoes, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Man.
And so I burned through all those, and then it's really important. You know, I didn't buy those boots. I didn't buy the nice boots until probably my
Yeah.
second or third year, and
Yeah.
now I spend like almost $200 on a good pair of boots.
Hey, and they're write-offs. It's a write-off. It's uniform.
It
yeah.
is, but at the time, if you would have taught, if me now was talking to me then, there's no way I
Yeah.
would have paid $200 for a pair of boots. There's no
Yeah.
way I would have spent $1,200 for a 21-inch push mower. Are
Right.
you kidding me? That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. You think about it now, like, I mean, we're in our businesses. We have our funds set. You know, we won't go out and buy the cheap stuff, like you said. You know, we're not gonna go and spend, you know, even like $100 on a weed eater. We're gonna spend like $250, $300 because
Yeah.
we know that that's where the quality is,
Yeah.
and we know that piece of equipment's gonna last us. a
And
long
we
time.
built that into our budget, you know.
Yeah.
Well, this time of year, we're doing our budgets and we're talking about how much are we going to spend. I talked to my buddy last week, and he runs a landscaping business out in Rathdrum, Idaho. And he told me he spent budgets, get this, he budgets $1,000 per month for tires alone.
What?
I know. This guy's got trucks,
Man.
trailers, you know, he's got his Bobcats, and he's got all this equipment. You know, and he's not even really that big. He's
Yeah.
maybe got like 3 trucks, I think,
Yeah.
and then like a couple pieces of equipment. $1,000 a month this guy budgets on tires
unbelievable.
alone. And so as we're making ours, we're not spending $1,000 a month.
Maybe
but-
a year.
Yeah, maybe a year, but we
Yeah.
are setting these things, you
You
know.
have to, yeah.
You know, because I'm working on year 2 or 3 now for my weed eaters, and I know my weed eaters are going to need to be replaced.
Mhm.
So I've built into my budget, you know, extra $1,000 so that when they do break down, I can just pop over to Ace and buy
Yeah.
myself a new weed eater, and there's no stress. I don't have to plunge myself into debt. You know, I've done my financing and stuff now, and this kind of scary thing is that when not scary, when I get a lot of money and I'm thinking I'm fun, I want to buy something, you know, you really got to be diligent, because if you did not budget that money for the new mower,
Yeah.
you just really should not do that unless you had some sort of catastrophic breakdown and you get financing for like, you know, 0% or something. You just can't do it.
Right. Yeah. It's really good if you have the money set aside. Even like having an emergency fund on top
you
of
have
the,
to,
on
yeah.
top of the budget that
Yeah.
you have for your mowers, your tires, whatever,
Yeah.
your uniforms. Have an emergency fund set in place
Yeah.
just in case. Yeah, you go. Okay, you have the funds. You go waste your invest your $3,000 into a mower, and you buy it brand new. But then all of a sudden you get another breakdown,
Yeah.
or your trimmer breaks down.
Or your
now you
truck
don't-
breaks down.
Yeah, truck breaks down.
Yeah.
Well, now you got that emergency fund to
Oh,
cover
man.
some of the costs. So
It was absolutely
Yeah.
devastating. My first couple years I got started, I just bought that $3,500 mower, and so I was making payments on it.
Yeah.
And what would happen? My truck breaks down.
it's always like that.
And not just like a little breakdown, it was a complete engine failure. I was screwed. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like they wanted like $5,000 for a new engine,
Man.
and I only paid like $2,000 for my first truck, so I couldn't afford $5,000 for. And I mean, I was dead. I was dead in the water. Thank God I had a friend like you who
Yeah.
had an extra truck, and he
Yeah.
let me borrow it.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, I'm scrambling around. It's scary because now I have a truck payment,
Yeah.
and I got the lawnmower payment, and I'm like pulling my hair out, and I'm just like terrified, you know, of like what's going to happen in my off season.
Did you have employees?
And
Yeah, you gotta
I
pay
had
employees.
employees to pay. You know, I'm freaking out.
Oh,
So
man.
it's just so important. I wish myself now could go back in time and tell myself then, it's like, you got to save your money. You got to be really
Yeah.
careful with your funds, because who knows when your truck's going to break down.
Yeah, I've had my trucks breaking down. I used to buy. I had a Chevy back then, like an '04 Chevy. Not the Colorado, but it was a Silverado. It was a
Oh, yeah,
1500.
I
So
know
I
that, yeah.
I upgraded. I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
got it from an auction. Got real cheap. Didn't
Yeah.
know what it was wrong. Didn't know the history. Just knew it was in a wreck. I fixed it myself. I actually went to auto body collision refinishing in college. So
Oh, cool.
that benefited me. It wasn't
Yeah.
a waste of time.
Nice.
And so I fixed my own truck, and it kept on, like, every single time there would something be wrong with it, and then finally, like, the alternator was going out. Like,
Oh.
it'd be dying. It wouldn't start, and
Oh,
like
man.
starter and all that. I had troubles, and then, you know, maybe I should have waited, but I bought a new truck, and that was just my own personal decision, and I invested money into it, and now with the new truck, man, I haven't had any issues with breakdowns or anything, but that was my own personal decision, and I did my math. I knew I could afford it and all that, and Yeah, I put a lot of money down, still making payments on it. Oh, and actually, I got it paid off now.
Oh, good.
But I was making payments on it, you know, making ends meet, and so that was just my own personal decision: is invest your money into something that's reliable, that won't break down always.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I won't have to worry about repairs as long as I do the maintenance on my equipment.
Yeah, you know,
and the truck and all that.
Personally, in my business, I budget about $500 per month for maintenance. Last year, you know, I had the truck breakdown. It wasn't like a big breakdown. It was like the blenders and the blendors and the air conditioning. So it was always blowing hot air in the middle of summer. And
Wow,
so, yeah. And that's like $1,000 repair right there. And then like before that, oh man. And then I probably should be telling you this, but I had a temper tantrum in my truck, and I was so angry, and something happened. I was just like, dang it, and I smacked the steering wheel really hard, and I punched it, and I broke the steering wheel column.
Oh man!
Yeah, and I was driving around the wobble. It was all wobbly, and just a stupid thing like that lost my temper. It cost me $1,000 to fix my truck. Man, and it sucked, you know. But you know, I had been budgeting the money. I mean, I hate to waste my budget on a temper tantrum like that. But, you know, stuff happens. You know, your truck breaks down, you know, you get in a car accident, you get a dent. And if you budget your money ahead of time, it's just such a relief when I was just able to just pay for it.
Yep.
At the time.
Yeah. Want to take a break?
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good time to take a break.
We're back. We were talking about budgeting, you know, why it's important to invest in good equipment. But, you know, when you first get started, you do what you can. You know, you gotta cobble together what you got in the garage and maintain and fix what you have, because you can't afford to bring these things in. You gotta learn.
Yeah, especially when you just start and you have equipment breakdown, you need some knowledge. And I've done a podcast episode on my podcast about this. Like, people spend so much money on maintaining their equipment, and I'm not like talking to you, but I know guys that have like 20-30 employees, and what do they do with their equipment? Well, sometimes they hire on a guy, a full-time small engine mechanic guy, but people that don't, they just give all their equipment to a local small engine repair shop and have it all done, you know?
Yeah.
And they're spending over like $1,000, $2,000 a month on just equipment maintenance. And on the other hand, sure, that benefits because it's one less hat for everyone else to wear, especially the owner.
Yeah.
He can streamline his business and make it more automated by doing it that way. That's understandable. But us solo guys or guys that have like 3-4 employees, I think it's very beneficial to either train an employee or train yourself on how to maintain equipment, or in reality, just a small engine.
Watch a YouTube video.
Or I have some YouTube videos, sure, on how to repair small engines, but that's how I started my YouTube, was small engine repair. It wasn't lawn care. I don't think my knowledge was in lawn care was like shareable. It was more like entertainment rather than how to lawn care. Like, I know there's a lot of guys out there like how to do this lawn care, you know, how to treat your grass, how to spray and all that. Mine was how to fix your engine.
Yeah.
You know, why is your hedge trimmer not, you know, bogging every time you throttle it? Well, it's your spark rest. You got to clean. Yeah. And so, like, a lot of these little things that I learned as a mechanic back before lawn care business, I now apply them to lawn care. And now I'm like, I'm not letting anyone else touch my equipment except me. Yeah. And that's true. There's some hard repairs that I've done on my own equipment, like my zero turn broke like those hydro fans and all that. You had to drop the whole hydro transmission. If you took that to a shop, man, you'd be paying a pretty penny, like $450 for the repair. Yeah. And that's just, well, most of it's like labor. Yeah. So you can save a lot of money. I mean, shops now are charging $80 an hour just to work on your equipment. And if you got a engine rebuild, man, you're gonna spend a lot of money. And if you can do it yourself, you can save a lot of money just by doing it, but just by having the knowledge of repairing.
So where do you draw that line? So say you're just getting started, you got your Walmart special, it's kind of a piece of junk, it breaks down, and you know, is it worth fixing it, or is it worth buying another $200 special, or, you know, like, where do you draw that line?
I think it's worth trying to fix it, because repairing an engine's actually very easy. The first 3 things you need to look at when your engine doesn't start is you got to check the compression. And now when I say check compression, some people are like, check compression, what is that? The easiest way to check compression, even if you don't have a compression gauge, is you hold the trimmer in the air or a chainsaw and you hold the handle. And if your machine drops all the way down, you have no compression in your engine. If it drops down like this, steadily, you have really good compression. So your compression's good. Second thing you gotta check is your spark. Not a lot of people have spark testers, but you can take the spark plug off, connect it to your boot, hold it to a piece of metal or your engine block, and pull it over. If you
or
see
your
a
finger.
Yeah, yeah, don't shock yourself. But if you see a little spark on the spark plug, then you have spark. And the next thing you do is fuel. I'm not trying to make this into like a small engine.
How do you fix your? I thought you said you weren't doing that anymore.
Hey, these are the things that I learned, and I hope you can apply to yourself, and I hope they bring a lot of benefit to you. But last thing you do is check for fuel delivery. If you prime it, sitting there priming it, and trying to start it, and if it won't start, if it still won't start, take your spark plug out after you've primed and choked it and pulled it 5-10 times. Take your spark plug out. If it's wet, then you're getting fuel. If it's dry bone, then you're not getting any fuel shooting through the carburetor, so something's wrong with your carburetor.
Yeah, it's important. I've wasted a lot of time with those Walmart specials. I did just what you did. I talked about. I try to fix these up. And I saved my money, and I was able to buy good equipment. But even the good equipment breaks down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had my larger 36-inch Skag walk behind breakdown, and you're right. When you go to these shops, it's like $400 or $500, especially when you get into the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's important to do some self-maintenance. And if you're not like Phil and you don't know like how to talk about fuel delivery and checking for spark and stuff, that might go a little bit over your head. It's important to at least check your oil.
At least you blow your air filter out.
Yeah, anybody can replace a spark plug. And when I first got started, I mentioned in a previous video that I was able to buy the $200 special, and then I worked my way up and I got the mid-grade used commercial equipment. But you never believe this. I forgot to check the oil, and I burned up my new machine in like.
Did you break a rod to throw a rod? Or
the whole engine it
seized, or
it seized because it was just too hot, and you don't have oil in there, and it was a man. And when you get into this something like that, I mean, the new engine alone is like $1,000 for those $800 for a new one. I only spent $800 for the unit itself. Mm-hmm. It was really tough at the time. Lesson learned. I had to throw it in the garbage, and. And so lesson learned, you got to at least check your oil, check your spark plugs, check your air filters.
Yeah, do that when I was, so my zero turn didn't have the best air filter system. It was a residential FS9 691V Kawasaki engine. And the air filter design was just really, it was designed for residential use. I had a lawn, and my friend Nate knows about this. It was a dusty lawn. If he's watching, I'll tell him to watch this. Dusty lawn. I told him to mow it because I wanted to drop the customer. I'll be honest. I did not like her lawn.
Did you give Nate like a dust mask or something to wear?
He would wear like one of the little things. And I would too. I wanted to wear a respirator, but I couldn't. And I had to throw that thing because I could barely breathe. But the air filter, like it was so dusty that the air filter would get clogged just on that lawn.
Oh man!
It would be full of dirt caked in, and if I didn't blow it out at the end of the day, on my next properties, some dirt could get ingested and through the carburetor and into your intake block and cylinder, and it would scratch up the cylinder and your rings and pistons, and your engine would be shot. Yeah. So you have to make sure to at least blow out your air filter, check your oil, and check your change your spark plug. Well, not change your spark plug every week, but check your oil every single day or week. Yeah. At the end of the week, and also make sure to blow out your air filters. Very, very key.
Yeah, and you might notice behind us we have a few things. I got there's an air filter.
That's
over there.
The one. That's the one. Yeah.
And,
if that caught on camera, that's the one.
Yeah, we got.
You can take.
Yeah. We got the air filter here, and I got a few spark plugs there over Phil's shoulder, and I got some old blades up there, sharp blades. It's just important to have a few things like this on stock, and they're not really very expensive, but like Phil's talking about, you're gonna need an air filter.
Yeah, when you just start out, I don't care if you're just starting out and you don't have the money to buy new equipment or anything, but you will probably have the money to buy some spare parts.
Yeah, and you see, I just keep these on hand all the time. I got a few of these, and you've got some like quarts of oil over here to do the oil changes and stuff. We got oil filters over there. And yeah, it's important to, because because you're spending money on the equipment, it's your bread and butter, and you got to maintain it.
You got to maintain it.
And especially as you start spending more money on your more expensive equipment, you're gonna want to.
Price goes up.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna want to keep your stuff in good shape.
Yeah. So maintenance is key. I mean, and you'll save a lot of money by doing your own maintenance. Like, remember when you called me and you're like, hey, do these tune-up kits like actually nice? Like,
yeah, do they actually work?
They actually work? I'm like, Chris, yes.
He's like, buy the kit.
Buy the kit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do I actually have to do this? I'm like,
do I
yes.
actually have to change the fuel filter? I mean, that thing is like in there, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to reach into there. I mean,
you'd be surprised. Like, we take apart fuel filters. You'd actually take the casing off and the actual filter itself, the paper. You blow it out, and you'll see like a brand new one's clear, and the used one, it might not seem like it when it's in there. But you take it out, completely disassemble it, and the paper's brown.
Yeah.
Full
well,
of
I don't know,
debris.
when I'm looking through the hole and I see the thing, I think it looks
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
No, you gotta make sure to keep your equipment up and running and ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want to break down. Last thing you want is a mower breaking down and or blowing a rod in the middle of
I've had that happen.
Or like in the beginning of the or not beginning of the season, but like during the hot season.
Yeah.
When you got like 60, 80 accounts,
Yeah.
or you got people depending on you to mow the grass.
Yeah.
You know, to keep their property maintained. If you got equipment breakdowns, you know, you got to go either buy new equipment on credit since you don't have the funds, or if you have that budget established,
Yeah.
you have the funds for you know, buying a new piece of equipment. Maybe that is the opportunity to go and buy something that's a little bit newer, that's a little bit better.
Yeah, we're hoping you guys are getting something out of this. You know, we want to share what we've learned, our School of Hard Knocks, with you guys out there in YouTube land. You know, when I was first getting started, they didn't have stuff like this available. You know, I didn't know what to buy. I didn't know how to fix my equipment, but now I can go and watch, you know, how to tune up my lawnmower online. And I didn't understand anything about setting a budget. I didn't even know how to use Excel really, you know, but there are videos online to help you with that too. So even if you don't know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can watch videos like this, you can watch other videos, you know, and start to educate yourself. And when you're starting a new business, that is really, really key, especially like now during our off season. You got to go to school. You got to, you know, keep that mental, you know, you got to learn about these things. If you want to get into landscaping, or if you want to get into like irrigation repair,
spraying,
spraying,
you got to take a week of school for that.
Yeah, you really do. And so it's important to stay up and to learn this stuff. And you know, to have friends in the business and ask them.
Key.
Yeah,
because like I got small engine repair knowledge, so Chris can ask me. I know nothing about like fertilizers or spraying. I can ask him.
And he calls me. And so surrounding yourself with good people, people that are in your industry, maybe getting yourself a mentor, watching these kind of videos, you know, it all comes around to helping you guys be successful. Because don't make the same stupid mistakes that we have in the past, you know, forgetting to check your oil and blowing up your engine or something. Don't make these stupid mistakes. You know, we want you to be successful. So in that, we're going to wrap things up here, Phil. You know, we're going to put our obligatory, don't forget to hit the old like.
The like, subscribe, comment down below. Make sure to comment, because your comments really help with the video algorithm. I mean, guys, if you guys aren't commenting, then we don't know how we did. So let us know how we did, how you thought of the video. What was the best moments? What is something that you gained from this video? If you have any ideas or topics that you want for us to discuss in the future, which by the way, I need to get you on my channel. We need to make a video. I'll have Chris come
let's
over.
Let's make it at your place next time.
We'll be in my little studio / office / just bedroom. not official, but hey, we got to do it sometime in mine. And now let's do like next week or 2 weeks, depending on the weather.
Let's go over to your place next time. So again, thanks for joining us. We hope you got something out of this video, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Boom.
That was good, man.
Just like that.